just to kill. We know as many as 25 people are dead. That includes students, teachers, and at least 2 of the people the police believe started the carnage in Littleton. We are told they took their own lives. They committed suicide. The Jefferson County Sheriff, they're describing it as a methodically planned suicide mission. Right now, the search goes on inside the high school for more victims and for possible explosives left behind. Let's rejoin live coverage from television station KMGH in Denver.
The whole thing is that balance between their safety and the needs of the people inside. We've heard them talking about having to lay suppressive fire. We're not sure what that would have been for, but a lot of people may remember that happened when Officer Bruce Vanderjack was killed and they had to go in and try to rescue him. So.
Okay. Julie, thank you for that insight. We appreciate it. Julie Hayden. We should mention the next police briefing comes at 5:30, and it will be every hour after that. One of the things we're hearing also from police is that the 2 gunmen may have been with a group they called the Trench Coat Mafia. Our own Lynn Setzer has more on that from the studio. Lynn?
And Mitch, most of what we learned about this gang is from other students. They tell us it is a group of anywhere from 10 to 15 kids who wear black trench coats, sometimes wear makeup, paint their nails, and dress in Gothic-style clothing. Now, if you're familiar with the rock group Marilyn Manson, he is described as a Gothic artist. He dresses in black, wears makeup, and is known for his music that deals with death and violence. 2 years ago, 4 students in Weld County were suspended from their high school for organizing a week of demonstrations, including a Gothic Day. Now, I talked with one student who said the members of this trench coat mafia were edgy. Other students who saw 2 gunmen today identified one as a member of that group. Several students say the gunman dropped out of school and they felt he had come back for revenge because he was an outcast at the school. Now, some students who witnessed the shooting said both gunmen seemed to take delight in the killings, shooting some victims several times as they screamed on the floor. Once again, this information comes from eyewitnesses who actually saw those shootings. Another student told us that members of the gang especially dislike kids who are athletes at Columbine. This student says, quote, they hated jocks. And that's what we know so far. And Mitch, back to you.
Thank you, Lynn. We appreciate that. One of the other reporters we had out and about on the scenes in the neighborhood and one of the triage centers was our own 7 News anchor, Steve Saunders. And Steve, quite a scene to see the neighbors coming to the aid and the students fleeing into some of those neighborhoods.
It was. When we first got there, it was just really probably within a half hour, and they were setting up that makeshift triage operation out there. And the neighbors, still angry, not knowing exactly what had happened, but them just came streaming out with blankets that they brought out of their homes, and everybody just trying to get a sense of what had happened. And it was just a terrible scene because it turned out the people I saw were actually the lucky ones because most of them had serious wounds, but it looks like they were going to survive the situation.
In addition to your duties with us at 7 News, you also do much work for ABC News, and you had the opportunity last year to go to almost a similar situation. Talk about that.
Yeah, I was up at that shooting up in Springfield, Oregon, and that was, I think, 3 students were killed there, so obviously the magnitude of this much greater, but maybe I can pass along a sense of what might happen in the days ahead because there, in that instance anyway, the students all came together. First, it was a very public kind of grieving thing. They all wanted to be with their friends, and then a little bit of anger towards the media. We could probably expect that as the media descends on this. Really from around the nation, you'll hear some people saying, you know, why are you here? And obviously we're here to tell the story. So you'll see a real range of emotions if it's anything like it was in Oregon. And then just anger. I mean, parents, students all saying, how could this happen at our school?
Yeah, always that question of why and how this could have been allowed to happen.
Yeah, so that's, and this obviously, these people probably just now starting to sit down and think about what it was they saw. Certainly at that triage center, I mean, sticks with me and photographer Mike LeClaire, all of the kids, I mean, just in horrible pain and covered in blood. And so those images are going to be with them, obviously probably the rest of their lives.
Okay. Steve Saunders, we appreciate that. We thank you. Rhonda Schulting was also one of our reporters out and about and talked to some of the kids you saw earlier today. These groups of kids, maybe 10, 12, sometimes 2 dozen, being released and running out of the building. And Rhonda, you got to talk to some of those kids as they were trying to get out of the school.
In fact, about 2 or 3 dozen kids were able to get out just as the shooting was starting. They heard the shots. Some, in fact, saw the shooters. They ran to a house that is about 3 blocks south that way, about a block south of the school. Photographer Greg Verspel and I met up with them at the corner of Pierce and Polk. And at one point in time, we saw some parents who were coming in to get their child one by one. But as the danger was sort of passing and they felt that they needed to get the kids out of the house because many parents were, of course, looking for their kids all afternoon, could not find them, a large group of them left. And as they took the kids out, because there was still some danger and they felt like these kids were still in the line of fire, they had to take them, and we have some videotape of this, they had to take them through a ditch. They didn't take them down the sidewalk in front of the house. No, they took them through a ditch in front of the house. And you can see them walking through the ditch right there. It was the lowest place that they could find that they could get out without worrying about any shots perhaps coming their way. This little girl you see right here, she left so quickly she didn't even grab her shoes. Obviously, these kids were scared to death. They had to get out as quickly as possible. Here's what she told Greg.
Obviously, you had to run out in a hurry. You didn't have your shoes?
Yeah, actually, I had my shoes, but when I knew we had to run, I lost them. So I knew it would be easier to run without them. I was just coming from the Commons when the trainers were telling everybody to get down. And everybody started to get out because nothing had happened. Then they started yelling again for and then we knew that we were sitting ducks there if we just stood there because there was no other way out of the classroom. So.
Did anyone here in your group see the shooters?
I did. We did.
What happened?
We heard 3 gunshots, and I said it was gunshots, and Heather was like, no, it wasn't. And then she got up, and then I got up, and we walked over there. We saw 3 guys with guns. We saw a really tall guy in a black trench coat, and then we saw 2 girls on the ground, Emery. She was on the ground. She had blood all over her. And then another girl was trying to help her. And then after that, we just ran in. And I was the first person to run through the door to sit there and say, somebody's been shot. There's somebody's shooting bullets and everything. Yeah, and Heather went in after me. Down on the floor.
I'm sorry, what?
Everybody got down on the floor. Everybody just got down on the floor. And then we ran into a back classroom. Yeah, in the foreign language hall. And then we kind of ran out of there. We heard, there was, vibrations. They were bombs. I told you. We heard, a lot of vibrations. Yeah. We heard? We heard a lot of whatever.
First of all, let's get your names.
Heather Avery, and this is Misty Holman.
Go on, spells, both names.
My
last names.
Haulman and Avery.
I mean, obviously pretty chaotic. And have you ever seen anything like this?
Well, she has just once before. I haven't though.
What were your thoughts? I mean, what's going through your head when you see these guys in trench coats shooting your friends?
I just thought it was unreal. This can't be happening. Yeah, it was unreal. It was just completely unreal.
Where are you guys headed now?
Home. Home. Yes! Mom's here! Yoo-hoo!
I'm glad you're okay.
If your parents aren't here, we can bring you home. That's okay. Oh, please. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go home. My friends from there. Yeah, okay, let's go.
Obviously a very emotional reunion between a father and daughter and the daughter's friend. The father had no idea where she was. He couldn't find her name on a list anywhere, but he just happened to be at that corner, sort of driving through the neighborhood looking, and there she was. And a horrible thing for any parent to have to go through.
No kidding. All right, Rhonda, we thank you. Lots of tearful reunions going on this afternoon as parents waited along this line behind me and all around this area, waiting to hear word of their sons or their daughters, and sometimes having to wait several hours before they truly knew whether their kids were out of that school and out of harm's way. Of course, this is something that affects not only the people that go to school here and in this neighborhood and this neck of the woods in Jefferson County, but all of us as Coloradans. And as a result, many things are changing in our city tonight, including some events that would normally be held this evening. And our Tom Green has more on that and how that's being changed this evening because of this tragedy. Tom?
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. It's obviously sports very trivial on a day like today, but the Colorado Rockies have canceled the 6 o'clock game tonight to be played with Montreal. That'll be made up in August. The Nuggets just got permission from the NBA to cancel tonight's home game with the Portland Trailblazers. No plans on making that game up as of yet. And we just spoke to the Avalanche, who open the Stanley Cup playoffs tomorrow night. And as things stand as of now, they have not yet had any discussions as far as what they would do with Game 1. Let's go back to Mitch.
Good afternoon. I'm Kathy Marshall from Channel 2 News. You have been watching live coverage from KMGH in Denver of today's tragedy in Littleton, Colorado. One student saying there it was simply unreal. All across that city, they're trying to cope. Parents still trying to find their children at Columbine High School. Authorities now saying 25 people are dead. They're believed to be students, teachers, and also the gunmen are believed to have committed suicide, and the authorities are now describing this as a suicide mission. We'll have much more live coverage right after a break.
Miss Lonely Hearts once again baiting the trap
with her special pasta
and our favorite Parmesan.
Gonna get me the chunk. Show me that chunk.
Whoa.
Oh, what is that?
That is new.
Well, that's not the chunk.
I know. Come on.
Oh, baby, nice shreds.
Our shreds. He's not worthy.
Introducing Kraft Shredded Parmesan Cheese. Fresh taste. No grating, no waiting.
Can we open this?
Oh, shut up and push.
Can't shop smarter. Can't go wrong.
It's Extra Discount Days Awards. The more you buy, the more you save on apparel, even on sale prices. And take an extra $5 to $150 off everything else in the store, even on sale prices. To Rewards Extra Discount Days. Sale ends Saturday.
You can't shop smarter than Wards.
During Adventure 99, buy a Dodge Intrepid, and Dodge will give you your choice of $1,000 cash allowance or a super vacation package worth up to $1,800 at the new Universal Studios Islands of Adventure theme park in Orlando, Florida. Or a vacation package at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's the adventure of a lifetime, and we have the rides to prove it. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
This is Channel 2 News special coverage of today's school shooting in Littleton, Colorado. Right now, a news conference is being held at one of the hospitals treating the injured. Let's listen.
Intra-abdominal organs, they all appear to be intact, and she appears to be stable, and she's the one going to the regular floor today. The other female who sustained a gunshot wound to the chest, she right now is in the intensive care unit. She sustained a significant injury to her liver, requiring a significant amount of operations. She's still critical, and so right now we're still trying to manage her in the intensive care unit, controlling blood pressure, and that's sort of her vital systems. The other male, which is a gentleman who got a gunshot wound to the back, he sustained significant injury requiring operation, injuring his colon, as well as potential injury to his spinal cord. That is still in the process of being worked up. The last male sustained gunshot wound to the chest and back. He is still in the operating room. He also sustained injury to his left arm, which is requiring an operation to repair the major artery in that arm. And he sustained also injuries to his intra-abdominal organs, such as his spleen, his kidney, and also his questionable history of an injury to his backbone also. Right now,
again, another chopper.
Right now, the two patients who are going to the general floor, their prognosis is still guarded, but they should do okay. The two patients going to the intensive care unit, it's still undecided right now. They're both still very critical and both still very unstable at this point.
About that spinal cord injury?
We won't know more about that until they start waking up and start following and see if they can follow commands.
Is that the one that's in intensive care?
Yeah.
Yes. No, the one that's in intensive care right now is the female. The one who's going to intensive care unit is still in the operating room.
How do they appear emotionally and mentally to you?
I know I visually saw 3 of the 4. All 3 were very shaken up. They were very concerned as to what was going on and didn't know why everything happened to them, but they were very shaken up.
Are you expecting any more?
As of this time, no. But we won't know until they finish the sweep in the school. I'm not sure when that's going to be completed yet.
We heard a report that business teacher was on the sweep.
That's the latest from Swedish Medical Center. You heard the doctors there giving us a briefing on the patients that they have there. There are also some at St. Anthony, DGH, and also at University Hospital. The latest number we have right now is 14 injured, and that may change to some degree one way or the other. A quick reminder, in about 8 minutes, we'll have an update at the bottom of the hour from police. We'll have that in a moment. But let's go back now to Sean and Bertha in the studio.
Thank you, Mitch. We will hear also an update at the bottom of the hour from President Clinton, and he spoke earlier to the nation about the terrible tragedy at Columbine High School. We'll hear that in just a moment, but you also... All right, we do have it now. Let's go to that now.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying that we all know there has been a terrible shooting at a high school in Littleton, Colorado. Because the situation, as I left to come out here, apparently is ongoing, I think it would be inappropriate for me to say anything other than I hope the American people will be praying for the students, the parents, and the teachers. And we'll wait for events to unfold, and then there'll be more to say.
All right, again, he will say that at 5:30 our time. And we have video now of a bomb squad action.
We certainly do want to take you live out to Columbine High School right now, where we will get live pictures from Air Tracker 7. This is in Littleton, Jefferson County, where this horrific story started unfolding some 6 hours ago. We are told that the bomb squad is out there, and they have gone inside the building. At this point, we can only determine that they are possibly going to detonate something inside that building. Now, the reason they may be doing that is we are also getting reports that the gunman who came into that school at about 11:30 this morning may have laid out some booby traps for police. And right now the bomb squad is inside the building. There are also any number of SWAT team members and police members out there who are standing down right now and suiting up. They are continuing their slow sweep of that building. It is a very large building. Some 1,800 students attended school out there, and they need to secure each and every classroom, each and every cubicle, each and every room. And that is part of the reason it is taking so very long to secure this area.
Absolutely. And Sheriff John Stone of Jefferson County also mentioned that the 2 suspected gunmen were found dead in the school library on the 2nd floor, and that they did have explosives on their person. So they may be as well going to defuse those devices if they hadn't detonated already.
This story continues to unfold before us as we continue to take a look with Air Tracker 7 here out at Columbine High School. That is also where 7 News anchor Mitch Jelniker has been for much of the day. He has been tracking the ebb and flow of this story as we continue to get new developments on it. Mitch?
Sean, you're correct that the bomb squads have been moving in and out of there trying to look for some of those booby traps we've heard about for the last 35 minutes or so. Also today, we've been getting great pictures from Air Tracker 7 showing those streams of kids coming out, sometimes in groups of 10 or 12 or 6, or at one time there was 72 that came out in one giant bunch. We understand that some of those kids were hunkered down in a choir room, in a science room, one in particular a biology room. And our own Paul Reinertson talked with some young students that were inside there and essentially, Paul, barricaded themselves in a science room.
They did. There was some really inventive things going on here. In the midst of all this terror, there were some kids who had some pretty level heads on it. We heard about a lot of heroes. We heard about the principal who was running around clearing everybody out. We also talked to this one kid who kind of kept his cool and in the biology room locked the door, and he gives us a description of what happened at that point.
I was stuck in the biology room. The first shots were taken inside the school. It sounded like a big fight, and then you hear this shot go off, and a teacher ran by with another teacher shot in the arm. So we started putting all the tables up, and they like set off flares next to our rooms, like they were trying to burn the school down or something. And they shot a few more times, and all the kids were frantic.
What did you do?
I was trying to keep everybody calm, mainly, because if they heard us in there, then they might have came in. The doors were locked, but they can get in.
You were hiding in the biology room?
Yeah, we had the tables up in front of us.
How many of you?
There's about 28 to 30 a class, and our classes are right by each other, so...
How did you get rescued?
SWAT team came in. SWAT team evacuated the upstairs above the commons and had us go with our hands behind our heads all the way down through, ran up by bodies.
This was just a horrible day for everybody. What we see here is some reunions. These were going on all afternoon. As you said earlier, there was one group of 70 people that came out at once. While parents were told to go different places, many of them came here to the center just hoping that they would be able to find their kid, come out safe. There were a lot of, as we see here, some pretty warm reunions, very tearful reunions, and people just holding on for hope. But in many cases, as we know, there won't be any reunions. This was a very, very sad day, and it's going to take a long time for all of these police officers and all of these students to get over this.
And, you know, adding to the trauma of this whole thing with parents waiting at the sidelines trying to figure out if their their son or daughter has made it, the police had to first make sure the students that came out of the building were okay physically, and then had to debrief them, in essence, so they might be able to track down the gunman before any others get hurt. So there was even a delay getting them to their mom and dad.
Yeah, it was just incredibly traumatic for people this age, people our age, people any age. And I think that's what we're hearing now. We're beginning to get to that point where a little bit of the shock is wearing off, and you begin to see some of the despondency and some of the things that people are going to have to be going through for a long time over this.
Yeah. All right, Paul, thank you. A lot for a lot of people, the whole metro area to work through. One of the places where they took those young people once they got them out of the building is down the way at an elementary school. Our Pat Woodard is standing by there. Pat?
Yeah, Mitch, this is Leewood Elementary School, and this has been the site of really a lot of incredible drama all day long today. This is where parents were told to come to check on the status of their child, and what they would do is they would shuttle the students over here, and they would then have them sign in, put up a big list, and then the parents would come and check that list and see if their child's name was on it. Well, a lot of people came here and spent an awful lot of time here without any sort of information. They'd look at the list, they'd see that their child's name was not on there, they'd call family, they'd call relatives that lived in the area, friends, anyone who might know the whereabouts of that child. But for many people, it was just a case of waiting all day and not really getting any information. A lot of people were angry about it. They said that they certainly felt that they could have been given more information that they were being given. But on the other hand, you have to realize that information was coming in slowly here, and the people who were giving that information out were really doing the best that they could. What we've seen all day long are a lot of reunions when buses would pull up, and there would be children aboard those buses who had come from Columbine High School, and they would then get together with their parents, have a reunion, and a lot of them would get out of here as quickly as they could. As you can imagine, this area has really become kind of a media circus in a lot of ways. This has turned into a huge international story, and there are media literally from all across the country who are camped out in front of Leewood Elementary here, hoping to find out more information and talk to people, witnesses who saw what happened in the school, as well as parents who are being reunited with their kids. Not an easy day for anyone, but for most of the families who came here, at least it is ending, and they are reunited with their child.
Okay, Pat, thank you. We appreciate that. Certainly a bittersweet reunion for many of those people, since they didn't know whether their classmates and their friends made it out, and the teachers too. We've got a few choppers overhead. It's a bit noisy on our end. I can tell you in a matter of moments, President Clinton will be speaking. Also, we'll have an update from the police, as they promised at the bottom of the hour. While we're waiting for those few things to happen, let's get the latest from police from Julie Hayden. Julie, what have you heard?
Well, I've been talking to some police officers as they've been leaving the building. We're told that the building has been cleared now. They found at least 4 pipe bombs outside the school that were unexploded. Apparently, earlier in the day, a pipe bomb set on a timer at Chatfield and near Chatfield and Wadsworth, Chatfield Bowles in that area, was set off and did explode on a timer. Nobody was hurt there, but that happened about the same time that all of this was going on. Again, they have gone through the building and cleared it, and they're beginning now to process the crime scene. You know, we've been standing out here, Mitch, watching these anxious parents waiting to get word, and you know, you can just see how horrible that's been for them. Also, when talking to some of the police officers, many of them are saying this is the worst thing they've seen since, for instance, being in Vietnam. They talk about seeing just kids literally lying everywhere. Apparently, they say the suspects were going through, stalking the other victims. You know, they were seeing them hiding under desks, hiding under chairs, hiding behind things, just going around and shooting them. Some killing them, or killing some of them just leaving them with massive injuries. One officer was talking about, and I think we saw some video of this earlier, one young man who was injured at a window trying to decide whether to jump or not, and they were afraid he might get shot yet again, and then the SWAT team had to go in and rescue him. Obviously, the kind of thing that gets to the police officers there. We overheard one officer talking to his family on the phone and asking his wife to just go kiss the kids for him. Just the kind of thing, I think, that hits home to everybody. I know I have a daughter. She called me. Her school had been locked down. So this is the kind of thing that it's hard to imagine, and it's hard to comprehend just how much it hurts people when it happens.
As they try to piece together why and what happened here, one of the things that seems to be clear, even this early stage, this seemed to be something that was thought out and plotted out.
I think absolutely. I think they think that this timed bomb, I mean, a bomb set in a timer, that's a fairly sophisticated device for anybody to make. And I think that that's the kind of thing that obviously they planned ahead of time. It was set to go off as they were launching whatever this assault was that they were doing on the school. Behind me here in the park, they've been behind us here. You can't really see it, but they've been setting off some of the other pipe bombs that they found inside the school. Others. All of them were able to go off. So these kids clearly were prepared. They knew what they were doing, and they had things booby-trapped.
Okay, Julie Hayden, we appreciate that update on the latest from the scene here at Columbine High School. Let's get an idea of the progress being made on those victims taken to some of the medical centers around the area. Let's go to Ann Trujillo at Swedish.
Hey, Mitch, actually making good progress here. They have just finished giving us a briefing from the surgeons who were dealing with the 4 victims that were brought here to Swedish. One girl, the girl who we originally was told had 9 gunshot wounds. They think now that it's really shrapnel, and so they were able to stabilize the girl, and she's actually on a floor now being taken care of, and so she's in much better condition than what they originally thought when they brought her in. They do have another female who is in critical condition right now. She's in intensive care. They tell us that she has some injuries to some of her vital organs, and so they are watching her very, very closely right now. There's a male who has a gunshot wound to his back who is guarded but stable, and then another male with a gunshot wound to the chest, back, and left arm, and is still undergoing an operation, will go to intensive care here. So that's the status right now of the 4 who were brought here to Swedish. Back to you, Mitch.
Thank you, and of course we're covering several facets of this situation here, and one of those is, of course, the constant updates we're trying to get from police as they too piece together what happened and what occurred here today at Columbine High School. One of the things we've noticed this afternoon is the number of people that have been coming in and out of the school area, and keep in mind this was a relatively large campus and it had 2,000 students. I'm getting a signal now that the news conference seems to have begun, so let's switch over that and listen in.
We're ready? Okay, as far as any update, right now there is a second SWAT team that's sweeping the building just as a precaution. Since our SWAT team spent so much time in there, they're going to take a breather, and the second one's going through just as a precaution. However, we feel like we have everybody out. The 2 suspects appear to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds at this time. The earlier information about a 3rd suspect seems to be a little sketchy. I talked to the people in charge of the investigation, and that 3rd party isn't necessarily considered a suspect at this time, just an associate of maybe one of the suspects. So as far as the actual shooting, we believe that the 2 suspects that we have found inside at this time anyway are the only 2 that, at least as far as now, that we're looking at. The number of fatalities is still unconfirmed. Earlier, the sheriff was talking about upwards of 25 fatalities. The investigators have told me that at this time, they hope that number is high, but it certainly could go that high. The number of victims that have been transported that are injured, the last I heard was close to 20 injured at area hospitals. Those injuries range everywhere from a very small injury or very light injury to something pretty serious. We have crime scene lab people from our department and from several other agencies in the area now that are going to assist us. There's a tremendous amount of evidence to log and to catalog and to take in. So we expect to be here for quite some time, probably into the next several days. We have a very massive crime scene, and I don't know that in my experience I've ever seen a crime scene, at least with our department, that entails quite as much area and quite as many injuries and fatalities as I've seen. So it's going to take our department quite a few days, I think, to wrap it up. Hopefully, in the next few hours, we'll be able to move all the live trucks and media closer. There's a parking lot within the Clement Park that I'm going to try to be able to get everybody into just as soon as we possibly can, where you can get some shots of the school and all. I'll entertain a few questions after I say that right now the members of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, along with the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office, the Lakewood Police Department, the Littleton Police Department, Denver Police Department, and some departments I'm sure that I've omitted, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the FBI. We're getting a lot of cooperation from those departments, and we all feel a tragic loss of life for not only some parents, but it's a very good possibility that maybe there are some teachers also as victims, fatalities. So our hearts go out to the families and the friends of all the victims, and we will try to update those numbers for you just as soon as possible. I will try to keep you updated hourly on the half hour, and I'll just take a very few questions, and then I'm going to try to get back and get some information. Yes? That's still unknown. The scene is as we found it. Nothing's been moved or touched, and I assume it won't be for a long, long time, several hours, because it'll take our lab people a long time to go in there and sketch the crime scene room by room. We are working on getting some maps for you people about on the layout of the school. That'll show you where the rooms are and which room is.
Sir, can you explain the difficulty in counting the bodies in there? It would seem that even though it's a widespread area, you must have some idea of how many bodies.
I think one of the difficulties right now is that there are more than one SWAT team that's been utilized, and they have possibly split up the building in different quadrants. So it's a matter of totaling all that information, and rather than throw out a number to you, I'd rather get a good count, and like the sheriff was saying, hopefully no more than the sheriff said. Yes. As far as I know, I think there were some outside the school. Whether they were fatalities or not, I don't know that. Pardon? I don't have the names of the suspects, no.
Were they male, and were they members of the Trenchcoat Mafia?
As far as I know, they're both male. And again, the Trenchcoat Mafia is news to me. I haven't heard it until today, so I'm not real familiar with it. Not that I know of. Huh?
What were they wearing?
I'm sorry?
What class they were in?
The first information I had was that they were ex-students or possibly had been expelled from the school. That's something where we're waiting to confirm.
Law enforcement obviously speaking with us. Can you tell us how they're scoping it, how they're characterizing what they see from scoping in other obviously
The only reports that I've heard, obviously, are from some of the SWAT team members that were inside and some of the radio traffic that they had while they were inside. And I heard words like grisly and gruesome, sad, tragic. So I haven't seen this scene inside, but going on what I've heard from some of the officers that have been in there, it's very tragic scene. Yes. Yes.
In addition, some of the paramedics that were responding to the scene are currently being debriefed and counseled at certain locations throughout the area.
Right.
Any idea how long it'll take to
Well, not knowing how many victims, that's a job that's going to be up to the coroner from Jefferson County. He actually makes notifications, death notifications, so it may be some time before we have victims' names. And in this case, we're going to have a lot of juvenile names, obviously. I think we can release juvenile names if they are fatalities. However, a juvenile that's just an injury, I probably won't be able to release a name just because of the Colorado statutes. Yes?
Did you say that the gunmen are dead of self-inflicted wounds, and are you certain that all of the people involved in the gunmen are dead? They're accounted for?
At this time, we believe that to be true, and we believe that they were self-inflicted gunshots. There is no indication that any officers of the SWAT teams shot or did any shooting inside the building.
Did you have a community officer in the building on regular?
We have an officer that is assigned to that school, and quite frankly, I don't know if he was there today or not. I haven't seen him on scene.
Now, this was just one area.
Sorry?
Do you believe that it started in the cafeteria and moved to the library?
I don't know exactly which way it went. I do know that there was shooting in both the cafeteria area and the library. Which was first, I don't know. I really don't know. Hopefully we'll have a map for you.
And the library is right above it.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Have you identified the gunman?
I think they have some names, but I can't confirm those at this time.
You know, did they kill themselves once they moved in or right after the rampage?
Yeah, I don't know what the timeline is on that. I don't know. I really don't know.
Indication about possible racial?
Not that I'm aware of.
There was reports that the third suspect was taken in was identified by one of the survivors, not named the shooter.
As I was saying earlier, apparently the information on the third suspect was something that was premature, and we don't believe that he was actually a suspect involved in the incident. Apparently he is a known associate or friend of one of our suspects, and that's where that information came from.